Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of The Silver Eyes.
I'm in.
I'm E.
And I want to kill myself.
That's a mood. And together we are... Yeah!
They hate us now. Also, I'm eating effing crackers.
I literally thought that said effing crackers. And I was like, oh.
They taste like shit, so...
Yo, A,
I'll tell you, if you don't like cursing, get off this video right now.
In or A, either one of you throw me my fucking purse. My lunchbox is in my purse. I want food!
Bitch, I got it!
Thank you.
They need to get that holy highlighter first.
Wait, it mentioned Jesus. That means it's child friendly.
No!
Don't say that, they might actually sue us. Listen, I don't got money for being sued, so please don't do that.
I've got like maybe $20 to my
I've
name
got
right now.
literally half of $1.
Can you imagine if they sued us and then they find out, oh shit, they're children.
I'm not
Shit, they're also broke. We're all legally children because I'm the oldest and I'm only 17. So legally we're all children.
He said Hulk smash.
We had
All I heard was Hulk smash out of that whole thing.
Okay, now
And I saw the look on his face as he did that too.
now that we got through that. She set off briskly down the hall, not waiting for the others.
Remember how you said who eats peanut butter sandwiches?
Shut the fuck up.
Me!
Not waiting for the others.
I don't like them.
They followed, trailing behind her, and the space above her suddenly became illuminated. As Lamar cut off and cast the beam of the flashlight upwards, Charlie was going back and forth, looking from wall to ceiling and back again, while trying to picture the space outside. Wait, who's Jessica again? We're gonna have fight over the...
I'll be Jessica.
I'm Jessica. Or not.
No.
Do a normal, classy girl voice.
She refuses.
The ceiling of this hall is probably level with the roof of Freddy's.
This is why you don't do voice acting.
The entire group chat has left.
You knew it was bad when I picked up the mic.
Jessica's voice came from behind Charlie, who startled briskly. She had been so intent
I'd
on
be
her
scared
pursuit,
if that
she
voice was
had
following me.
lost track of her friends.
Oh, this is Charlie? Mm-hmm. We have to get up there, Charlie said, turning back to the group. I thought it said ground? Hey, ground, we gotta go. Turning back to the group expectantly.
No. I'm gonna fuck the ground.
The teacher's right behind you.
Oh.
They looked
At
blankly
least
at
I
her.
leaned in to say it.
They looked blankly at her for a second. Then Lamar's arm moved reflexively, like he was about to raise his hand. It's supposed to be a comma right there.
Where?
That period's supposed to be a comma. Because it's still part of like the group. You're not changing it to something. Then Lamar's arm moved reflexively, like he was about to raise his hand. He caught himself and cleared his throat instead.
Wouldn't there be a comma after like reflect? Back. Where were we? Okay. Wouldn't there be a comma?
There's a comma after reflexively.
Okay. I can't really read that well upside down from a distance.
I hate to point out the obvious, but, Lamar said, gesturing about 10 feet ahead of them. The maintenance ladder rested against the old brick. Charlie grinned and hurried to the ladder. Ooh, I'm gonna fuck that ladder, man. Waiting for Sean to follow.
Okay, thank God the teacher's gone. They grabbed it together. It was heavy, metal and covered with splatters of paint, but it was manageable to carry. When Charlie had firm grip on one side of the ladder, she turned her back to the ceiling, searching.
Grab it firmly.
There was probably a hole or a hatch or something, she said.
A hole or a hatch or something.
John echoed with a half smile as he lifted the other end of the ladder. Do you have a better idea? Now get your ass over here. She jerked the ladder forward so hard John stumbled and almost fell. I'm sorry, I had to make that sentence better other than now come on.
They moved slowly. With only one flashlight, they could not see where they were going to examine the walls at the same time. So every few yards, it stopped for Lamar to run the light back and forth across the place, where the brick wall was met with a dripping ceiling of the makeshift hallway.
Carrying a light and running down.
Man, I don't have that many lines. That sucks. For me. It's great for you.
Though it slowed them down, Charlie was grateful for the brakes. The ladder, industrial metal, was heavy. She could have asked the other to switch it off, but it felt essential somehow to be part of the physical process. She wanted to help. Marla's agitation was growing as they went, and after a few rounds of moving scared, she started calling Jason's name softly.
Jason! Jason!
Softly.
Can you hear me?
He's inside.
Why was she calling his name softly?
I don't know. John said shortly, "He can't hear you."
His voice was true with the weight of the ladder. He had the wider end, and he sounded almost snappish. Snappish? That's a word?
Yeah.
Well, it is now. Mara glared at him. You don't know that. Jessica, normal voice, please.
No.
Stop it! Oh my god.
Jessica said.
I'm about to just, like, leave.
doing everything we can.
Stop. Alright, you know what? You can have Marla. I'll take
Marla
Jessica.
didn't answer.
No.
A few minutes later, they came to the end of the hall, end of the alley. So what? John said.
I don't know, Charlie said, puzzled. I was positive that we would find something.
Is that the way life usually works for you?
John teased, raising an eyebrow at her. From down the hall, Lamar let out a triumphant cry. Found it!
Marla took off towards him at a run, and Jessica followed a little more cautiously behind, worried about obstacles in the dark. Charlie gave John a wink and picked up the ladder again. He hurried to lift his side. They lugged it back the way they came.
Oh.
When Charlie and John caught up to the rest of the group, all three were looking up at the ceiling. Charlie mimicked their posture. Sure enough, there was a square trapdoor big enough for an adult to pass through. Its edges barely... Hold on, let me finish this sentence. Visible in the darkness.
Okay, so snappishly actually is a word. Snappish. If it's dog, irritable and inclined to bite. If it's a human, irritable and curt. Which is essentially.
Without speaking, they set up the ladder. It was perhaps 10 feet high and rose close enough to the ceiling to access the door easily. Mara climbed it first as Lamar stayed the ladder on one side, Jessica on the other. John and Charlie watched as Mara ascended.
So the trapdoor there...
John pointed up at
The
it.
trapdoor of this hallway is right next to Freddy's. That will get us on the roof of Freddy's, which is under the roof of the mall. Oh my god, they said the roof like 4 million times. In a crawl space. And on the Freddy's roof, again, stop. There is a skylight, which we will find while crawling through the crawl space.
He did crawl space twice!
Okay, so like, aren't we taught in like basic English that if you're going to be saying the name of something over and over and over again, to make it sound less annoying, use what was it? Like it.
Different iterations of it.
Just use the word it. If it's a thing, it's an it.
Oh shit, I lost. He drew an invisible diagram in the air. With his fingers he spoke, and his tone was edged with skepticism. There we go, sorry. Charlie did not respond. Miles' footsteps on the ladder sounded through the hall. Heavy, tiny thuds that echoed unsteadily all around them.
Once we find the skylight in the crawl space, John went on, not certain if Charlie was even listening, we are going to drop down through the skylight into the Freddy's, positionably with no way of getting back out.
Possibly.
With possibly no way of getting back out. So how the fuck did Dave, why? Did you just want to die in there?
He's like, well, I got nothing else better to do, so.
Me too.
At the top of the ladder, Marla Phil was something on the ceiling that the others could not see, making little musters of frustration. Is it locked? Charlie called her.
Okay, sure.
John said a word by now that he was talking only to himself.
That makes sense.
This makes sense.
This makes sense. Oi, mate.
The bolt is just stuck, Marla said. I need help. Her dull, snapping sound rang out. Got it, she cried. She raised, oh my gosh, she didn't say said. Oh my god, we gotta congratulate her.
She raised her hand over her head and pushed upward, and slowly the door opened above her opened above her until it tipped over and fell to thud.
How did she get it unlocked that fast though?
I don't know. So much for sneaking in.
John said cheerily.
Said.
It doesn't matter, Charlie said. We still have to go. Besides, do you really think whoever is in there doesn't know we're coming?
Above them, Marla was navigating her way up to the door. She braced her arms on either side of the space and pushed off the ladder. It swayed dangerously, and Lamar and Jessica clung to it, trying to stabilize it, but it was not necessary. Marla was already up and through onto the roof. They waited for her to say something.
Marla? Jessica finally...
Hey! Jessica called finally. Fuck you, that's my part.
Your part is bad. You'll be fired.
No!
Yes, I'm fine. Mama said, what did you see? Charlie called. Throw me the light. Mama's arm emerged from the trapdoor, flapping impatiently.
Lamar got a picture and carefully lobbed the flashlight up. Marla snatched it out of the air and immediately the beam vanished. The light had gone out. In the crawl space, Marla sat in the dark trying to fix the flashlight. She shook it right on the batteries and flipped it on and off uselessly. As she unscrewed the top of the light, it blew into the battery cage. She felt a rising
I thought it blew
panic.
up first.
Since realizing Jason was gone, Marla's entire being had been focused on him. It was only now, alone in the darkness, that she began to think about the danger she was in herself might be in. She screwed the top back onto the flashlight and it came on instantly. The light flashed in her eyes, briefly clouding her vision. She pointed it away and carefully swept it around a circle around her, revealing a sprawling void in the direction. It was the roof of Freddy Fazbear's.
What do you see? Charlie called again. You were right. There's space, but not much. It's so dark and it smells awful up here. Her voice sounded shaky, even to her own ears, and suddenly she was desperate not to be alone in this place. Hurry, don't leave me up here by myself, you fucking idiot!
Hold on, before you say anything. It would be hilarious if the crawl space ended before they got to Freddy's. So they couldn't even get in, and then Jason died eventually.
It's like,
Okay.
that's
Wait,
why.
how the fuck did Jason get in?
He had the power of teleportation, but he.
Me too.
What I don't get is, what's the point of the series if no one dies? Like, it doesn't add any tension.
Well, Dave dies.
One person.
He's supposed to die.
And the officer, but like, no.
Oh wait, the person that what's her face was, yeah.
Officer Dunn dies for no reason.
Yeah, but there's
No,
like.
the dude that she's like, my dad died.
Henry? He's already dead though.
Alright, well, anyway.
Henry's been dead.
The point I don't get.
Coming!
Oh my god.
Jessica called him.
What were you saying before she, ruined all of our ears?
Okay, so I just don't get what's the point of building all this tension if none of the main characters are going to die? Like, it would have been much better if each character got picked off one by one, and it was just like Charlie and Jessica left, and John is a fucking idiot.
He died first.
He would definitely die first.
No, Charlie would die first.
And then
all
Charlie
know
and
she's
Jessica,
stupid.
after they're all alone, they finally find Carlton. They think, oh my god, there's still hope. We can save one of them. But then he ends up dying in the Springlock suit.
Yeah, she tries to pull him out and then she hits maybe just one of them and he just fucking dies. He explodes. His innards come out.
And then there's finally Dave, who's got Jason hostage.
I think they wanted to make this book kid-friendly.
Why would you make Five Nights at Freddy's kid-friendly?
Do you realize how many kids played Five Nights at Freddy's?
Yeah, and how many parents get onto them?
It's about killing half a dozen children.
How do you?
Let's make it kid-friendly.
Oh, we gotta add romance in there as well, guys.
Kid-friendly.
It's supposed to be young adult.
Kid-friendly.
Kappa.
Oh, my turn. Neat, Charlie said, stepping forward. The ladder was rusty and it made squeaky complaint.
Okay, this is weird. Whenever you said me next, I straight up thought you were being Jar Jar Binks with the me.
Stop it.
Leave me alone!
And it made squeaking complaints as she cried? How is it complaining?
It's supposed to be a fake. I can't say the word. It's supposed to be a figure of speech.
It's a very vocal figure of speech. but
Protesting
okay.
the way she moved from step to step, but it felt sturdy and quickly. Wait.
But it felt sturdy, and quickly she reached the trapdoor and did as Marla had done. She stood on the top step, so she was head and shoulders.
Thanks for the
through
dum-dum, you
door.
dum-dums. They threw the sucker part of a dum-dum over here and it exploded. There's a piece there.
She stood on the
There's a
top
bunch
step,
of it
so
in
she was
my
a
book
head and shoulders to the door, braced her arms on either side, and pushed off the ladder, almost jumping to land on Freddy's roof. I said Freddy's roof. Raggy! There had not been room to stand, and scarcely room to sit. The space between the restaurant's roof and the mall's roof above was less than a yard. Something was rattling above them, and stones were falling overhead, and it took a moment to realize it was rain thundering on the uninsulated tin. So what would have been great is if they got to, let's just say that Who should we kill off first? John. So let's just say that John's in the back of the crawl space, and like they all get there all of a sudden, the entire crawl space like tumbles on top of him and kills him. That'd be like the good first death, because they can't get out first of all, and now John's dead.
So now it's like, oh shit, the only escape left we have at the door, but it's locked outside. And then probably Lamar would die next. I think Lamar should die because he doesn't appear again in the second book. He
Okay,
doesn't
well
appear
then-
again in the third book.
Okay, well then Lamar's in
Lamar
the back,
died.
and then the entire crawl space like just falls on top.
I'm not saying that
Perhaps
I'm not
Lamar
s-
died between those books. He said it doesn't appear again in the what books?
He's appearing in second or third.
So maybe he died at the end of the first one, but not like actually in the story. It's in the time
That's
between.
kind of stupid because they never talk about him again. Okay,
If he
I
did
don't know,
die,
man.
if he did die, they would at least mention in the
water
second.
dipped on her head, and when she looked up, she saw a place where the metal seams had not been jolted. Two coagulated simply lined up next to each other, all aligned by circumstance. So yeah, that would have been great if he if like someone was in the back and like it like just fell on top of them. I'd be like,
Oh shit!
it would be good though, because it talks about how bad like the crawl space is.
And then all of them magically make it?
She wiped her palms on her jeans and what? The shingles under the roof were wet, and her hands were covered in grit, dust, and something slick and more unpleasant. She looked towards Marla, who was a few feet away.
Here, come on, get out of their way, Mara said, motioning her over, and Charlie heard on her hands and knees just as had appeared in the trapdoor, and carefully she made her way up into the crawl space. Safely on the roof, Jessica looked around as if gauging something. Concerned, Charlie remembered her fear in the air vent, but Jessica took a
Is that
long,
Mom?
deep breath. Yeah, it is. Thank God. Is it though? I mean, it's blue.
Bye-bye from Jessica.
Okay. Okay.
I can't handle this.
I can handle this, she said, though she did not sound as if she believed her own words. A moment later, Lamar was next to them. He quickly reclaimed the flashlight and aimed it back toward the trapdoor. After a moment, John scrambled up into the scroll space.
Yeah, so it would be good if John died at this point. 'Cause he's like half the brains. He's got half a brain, maybe even less, but he's got some
Half the brains
brains.
of the operation.
He's got some brains, so if he dies, it's like, oh shit, what are we gonna do now? Like,
He's half the brains of the operation.
After a moment, John scrambled up into the crawl space, and something banged loudly beneath them, the sound repeating. Everyone but John
Love you too, idiot.
but John started at the sound.
love you. That's Lamar. No, that's John. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, he said. That was a ladder.
Charlie, which way? Marla asked. Oh! Charlie closed her eyes again, retraced her steps as she had while they searched for a way in. Straight across, I think, she said. As long as we get to the far side, we'll find it. Without waiting for responses, she started crawling in the direction she thought was right. A second later, a light appeared ahead of her. Thanks, she called back softly to Lamar, who was sitting in the flashlight trying to anticipate where Charlie would go. I don't have anything else to do, he whispered. That's because you're worthless in this book.
The crawl space was wide. It should have felt spacious, but there were support beams and pipes drawn at random, intersecting, and the space was running across the roof below them. So that it was a little navigating a very cramped forest, ducking vines and climbing over fallen trees. The roof of Freya's had shallow upward slope. Now what have go down once again they reached the middle. The shingles beneath their hands
Is this
and
Elle's
feet
water
were
bottle?
fuck it is. I'll take it.
Or is she gonna come back when she realizes it's missing?
I'll probably have to text her later. The shingles beneath their hands and feet were soggy in a deep, swollen way that suggested they had not been truly dried in years, and a moldy smell rose from them. Every once in a while, Charlie wiped her hands on her pants, knowing that they would only be clean for a moment. From time to time, too far away to be coming from the group, but
That's why she thought
Oh.
she heard something skitter by. It sounds a little too far away to be coming from their group, but she ignored them. They have more right to be here than we do, she thought, though she was not certain what species they might be. Well, no, they could be rats, they could be bugs, they could be spiders.
the roof above them followed a bizarre pattern, sloping up and down without regarding the roof beneath. So at one point, it opened 4 feet above their heads, then another plummet downward, so so close that it grazed their backs, forcing them to duck their heads or wriggle awkwardly through. Jessica was right behind Charlie. From time to time, she could hear her friend make a soft, frightened noises, but every time she looked back, Jessica just nodded sullen face. They continued until they reached the wall that marked the edge of the roof.
Okay, Charlie called, half turning behind her. It should be near here. Let's spread out and look. You're going to split up. That always goes well. No, wait! What's that? Mama said, pointing. Charlie.
Could not see what Marla had spotted, but she followed the direction until she came to it.
The skylight was a flat glass pan in the roof of frame, like a small window, a single panel with no visible handles, hinges, or latches. They leaned over it, trying to see into the room below, but the glass was too covered and grime for anything to show through. John reached forward and tried to clean it with his sleeve. He came away with the arm of his shirt black, but it had done no good. At least half of the dirt was on the other side, and the skylight was still opaque with filth.
Opaque,
Sorry.
It's okay. Hey, shit, that's my mom.
Oh, go. Bye.
I have to take
Ease.
a water bottle with me.
That's all for today, kids.